Okay. Oops. Kathy. Okay. Hello, everyone. We're back with Maureen Bonet and Tracy Whipple and me, Madeleine. I don't know why I said everyone's last names, but we're back for spooky, scary stories in Paris.
Mm-hmm. And let's see, where are we all?
So I'm at Opera Garnier, which we'll discuss later.
Okay.
In this live event.
Oh, is that? Are you alluding to maybe some topics here?
Yeah, some topics we'll describe later.
Okay. And Green, where are you?
Here I am. Hello, everybody. So, me, I'm actually at the Conciergerie, which is a prison in the middle of Paris. Not anymore, but it was quite famous during the French Revolution. But I will keep that for me right now, because I tell you the story not today, as we already have many stories to share. So, by the way, so you would know that you can find me everywhere on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on a great channel that I've been starting during the lockdown. It's all called and known under the name Marine the City. So let me show you how it's written, because it's a trick thing. It's written in the French way, let's say. So that's the name of my channel. And in there, I organize every week. I would organize a quiz, one in French and one in English. So you can also be part of it. And I change every week the topic. And I'll try to let you guess the topic in stories on my Instagram and Facebook. So everything is known under this name, Marine the City.
And I've actually caught quite a bit of your content. It's really good. So I strongly urge anyone to.
Thank you, Tracy.
Yeah, it's really good.
That's very nice.
I also wrote it in the chat so that you can copy and paste.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. So what to talk about today? Well, I like your photo actually, Madeleine. I find it quite interesting. And so if you don't mind, I'd like to talk about one great story that happened in Paris. It was at the end of 19th century, and it's the Opera Garnier that is just behind you is actually part of this. So it's a story of a man who was a pianist, and his name was Ernest. This man was trying to write a great partition of music, and it was on the 28th of October in 1873, to be precise, like you see. The man was in what we call Opéra Le Pelletier. So it's an opera which is now, because it doesn't exist anymore, but it was about in the area of the Opera Garnier. So let me show you like this famous opera, if it works. It's tiny. It's a very tiny photo. I didn't expect that. Ah, cool.
Everybody get really close to the screen.
So let me show you that.
I'm getting ready for it to pop up. And like,
I know, she does this every time, and you get real close and then bah!
So no worry, it's just how it used to look like. It doesn't exist anymore, but it's very close to what is known now as the Opera Garnier. So this tiny opera, also known as the Academy of Music in Paris, was a place where people would do rehearsal. And Ernest was playing piano and his girlfriend was in there also, when suddenly there was a terrible fire. She died in there, and he managed to survive, but with a terrible face burn. But all the state believed he was dead, so he was mentioned as dead. And then there's a legend saying that he ended going on his life, you know, underneath the construction of the Opéra Garnier, next to a lake. Actually, underneath this Opéra Garnier, there is a lake. So why is that? This lake is here in case of a fire, which is quite good, actually.
Wow.
For this selected place, sorry. So the construction of the Opéra Garnier ended in 1875. We never heard any more about this man. We never heard about this story again. But then it was in 1896. One day during a presentation of Faust, organized and planned by Gounod, there was an accident. The light attached to the cellar fell on one person in the public, and the person died. So then everything could have been just mentioned as an accident. But the thing is that apparently the number of this chair was 13. But it doesn't stop here. Then there were stories about ghosts living underneath this opera. Someone all dressed in black with a face covered, or very terrible looking, like he was burned, you know. Mm-hmm. There were stories also of a technician who would die, strangled, but with no rope the neck, so there was no proof actually with what happened. And also a woman known as Christina Nielsen, who was quite famous at that time. She was a great actress. Christina Nielsen mentioned she met several times a man that called himself the Angel of Music and wanted to teach her how to sing. And she would learn how to sing perfectly with that man underneath the Opéra Garnier. So it was like a very strange story. And even the directors mentioned, the one who were the owner of the opera, mentioned that they received several phone calls like of an unknown person who would call himself the ghost of the opera so he asked them to actually book one particular lodge or little area, you know, you have in the opera spectators, mm-hmm. The fifth one. So let me show you that. Now, that would be easier if I let it like this. That one, do you see that?
Oh.
I don't know if you see the proper thing.
I just saw her.
Was it?
Yeah, I saw her, Christina Nielsen. Yes.
So this is the entrance of this lodge. So this area in the public. And like you see, right underneath is written Loge du Fantôme de l'Opéra, which means the seat of the phantom of the opera. So this is how started legends that actually a famous writer, Gaston Leroux, decided to turn as a novel, and has been then changed into an opera and also as a musical. Sorry, a musical. And if things would stop here, that was already something, like you see, the legend. But it did go on, like even recently. In 2016, in Paris, we were meant to welcome this great musical again. So it was like 30 years after it was first shown in London. So it was like the great event ever. What happened? Few days before the very first presentation, there was a fire in the opera where was meant to be shown this musical.
Oh, shoot.
Oh my God.
Did that lake come in handy at that point? Or maybe that lake was
Everyone jump in the lake.
Everybody, yes. Oh, no.
Right.
Mon Dieu.
Exactly. We were all crazy, like, no, why we won't be able to see it, to attend it. So we were all very sad, but then we heard that Mogador, so the theater, was closed to be renovated then, and we had the possibility then to see it only last year. So it was in 2019 that could happen. So from January to March, if I'm good. So it was at the very early 2019. But then and it wasn't in the same theater. It was in another theater also in Paris. It was not possible in Mogador. I think everybody got traumatized.
Oh.
Understandable. That's pretty understandable.
Yeah, I've seen the Phantom of the Opera like 5 times on stage. I'm kind of obsessed with that show.
Right. It's an amazing show. I don't know much about actually the one, and I've been looking for it to watch it again because it's been such a long time. I loved this movie. I was in love with the Phantom when I was a kid. The movie was great. I think it's the one from 1989. I've checked that, and apparently the one who was acting as the Phantom was Robert as Freddy. I think he's got the good face for that.
Oh my God.
So then regarding opera, there is I think something that I could talk about also. It's regarding a man called Gérard de Nerval. You remember last times we were talking about Père Lachaise, and guess where is buried Gérard de Nerval? In cemetery of Père Lachaise.
So he's kind of a big deal then. He's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, he's kind of famous there. Okay. There are stories that people saw him hanging in the cemeteries. They mention a tiny man with a long and very high hat, long coat, sorry, all black. So Gérard de Nerval was quite this allure, you know, so I think you're right. So Gérard de Nerval is also a very important personality here in France because he's a famous writer, and he didn't write only books. He actually wrote also plays and opera. And regarding one opera I wrote, it was with Dumas, and Alexander Dumas never mentioned the Nerval when he signed the booklet that's coming with the opera.
Ouch. That's not very,
Not very nice. He employed a woman called Jenny Colon, and Jenny Colon was the first character of the opera. And Gérard de Nerval fell in love with her, but it wasn't shared. So he got like very oppressed by that, and he became a bit crazy.
Oh no.
Like,
it'll happen. It'll happen. I can see it happening.
But very, very crazy.
Mm.
Actually, what happened, he was seen several times in Paris, in the streets of Paris, taking off his shirt or dancing around or jumping in a pond in a royal palace. Also, he was seen as well, something quite good, walking around and taking on a lead a lobster.
What?
I just saw that the other day. I think I saw him the other day doing that, actually. That's actually completely amazing. I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't say that, but that's incredible. That's incredible. A lobster on a leash. I'm sorry, I was totally not expecting you to say something like that. That's amazing.
Oh my
I'm
god.
gonna be laughing about that at 3 a.m.
So
Oh my god.
I'm looking for drawings that was made about him.
Mute me, because I'm about to go crazy laughing. Oh,
Oh my god.
oh my god, I love him.
Lobster?
Oh my gosh, he looks like the Monopoly guy with the. Oh, Maureen, I'm so glad you have this. Oh, I have to have this. Oh, I'm gonna paint it in too. I'm gonna do like a pencil.
So actually, the man indeed was quite risible. Everybody was laughing about his attitude, the way he was, but he wouldn't laugh if he would have killed someone or anything like that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
what is good is that he didn't get any harm on anyone, even on himself so far. So, but then after this episode of the lobster, he was placed in a great clinical, great hospital, a special that, psychiatric.
Yeah, special place for men that walk lobsters.
He actually mentioned it because someone asked him, "What the hell are you doing with lobster?"
Right? I mean, yeah. Oh.
So what he answered,
Sorry.
that he loved lobsters. And why is that a lobster is ridiculous? More than a dog, nor a cat, nor a lion.
Very good point. Actually, that's a very good point.
Yeah. And he even
I still think he's crazy.
And he even said that the lobsters were actually lovable and they were quiet, they were serious, and they knew all the secret from the oceans.
Oh my god.
This just gets better. Thank you.
I can't believe I thought about it that much.
No, and these are all very valid points. I mean, what she's saying is completely valid.
Maybe
It's not crazy, right?
maybe he was totally rational.
Yes, exactly. That's what I think.
I wonder what the lobster was thinking.
I'm pretty sure that he would have been born in the early 20th century at time of surrealism. He would have been more than welcome, like very well celebrated. But because 19th century, it was different.
Yes.
It was representing more the romanticism, you know, so it wasn't yet surrealism, but it
You
would
would
have
have,
been
yeah.
fitting.
Yeah, you would have had a reality show now, honestly. It would
Yeah,
have gone-
true. He'd be rich and famous for that.
A good point, right? So after he got inside, well, after he went to a psychiatric hospital, he then went on to his work and he wrote many things. But the thing is that he did other crises that took him another hospital, psychiatric hospital. This one is quite famous because it was owned by the Doctor Blanche, which means white doctor, but that's a family name, you know, Blanche.
Uh-huh.
Apparently, Blanche doctor was from a long family, like a long ancestors of doctors. Doctors, I got it. So actually, after this time in this, so this hospital was actually located at the top of Montmartre, on Montmartre Hill. And after he was released, let's say it like that way, he quite spent a lot of money in naughty things. And he was usually walking again in streets of Paris, not this time with a lobster, but
Darn.
what happened is that it happened on the 26th of January in 1855. This day, it was an early morning before everything would open. The one in charge with his shop in the 4th street of the old Lanterne, as we call this old street. This street doesn't exist anymore, but it used to be next to Châtelet, so in the very center of Paris, nearby the center. So Châtelet. So he was going to his shop. He was meant to open his shop when he found the body of a dead man hanged to his grill. And he looked at the face of the man. He was quite a roundy face. He had a very high hat, well perched on his head, you know. And the policemen showed up quite fast, and they managed to identify the body thanks to passport that was still in his pocket.
Oh, that's lucky.
And mentioning, so it was Gérard Labrunie. So Gérard Labrunie is actually the real name of Gérard de Nerval. So everybody mentioned it as a suicide. But there are some people who believe he didn't commit suicide and that was a murder. This street, this old street that doesn't exist, used to be like what we call in French a coupe-gorge, which means throat cut, where you could risk your life. It's very dangerous, very dark, because it's still very medieval looking like. Actually, in 1855, we were, oh yes, exactly. I know exactly where it is.
Well, take me.
The theater.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Actually, Châtelet now is a famous square in Paris where you would find a lovely fountain in the middle and a great metro station. It's one of the biggest, linked with Les Halles. So on this square, next to the river, you have two theaters. And the theater called the Theater of the City, le Théâtre de la Ville, is actually located where used to be this very sordid street. And there are some facts mentioning that the exact place where he was found in 1855, it is where now, where was that exactly the, what we call it again? So we're front box. It is exactly where is located the front box of theater of the city, le théâtre de la ville.
Oh, yes.
Right. And there are some stories like apparently in the theater, right? In the theater location, there were some hunting facts regarding a man and some trouble sometimes during presentations. So it is one of the creepy stories. Maybe he's showing up several to mention he didn't commit suicide. Some people, like some of his friends, believed he worked hard on that, trying to show it to the world. But people like a friend actually of him didn't believe he was murdered. They actually trust the suicide possibility because they were quite close to him, and it's true that he was a bit crazy, and maybe in dementia he decided to kill himself. Oh. Maybe we should try to talk to him.
I think that's a very good idea, and you just read my mind. So I absolutely believe that you have some type of clairvoyancy, because I was just thinking we should actually try.
So let me show you. There is one presentation, drawing made by a famous artist, Gustave Doré. He's also known to be a sculptor, who made what could look like when he died.
Wow.
See here, this is Gérard de Nerval hanged.
Oh my gosh.
The front of the shop, and his body living, you see.
Mm-hmm.
He's here.
Oh wow.
And this, that's taking him away.
That's serious.
Wow. That's serious.
It's really serious. That's amazing.
It's to immortalize as well the fact that he translated Goethe, you know. So that's linked with the story of Goethe, the book of Goethe. So, oh yeah, that's the one I wanted to show you as well. I'm sure you would love it.
Okay.
I'm excited.
Good.
Let me show you that. So
this is bound to be good. And when Trey gets excited like that, that means it's really good. Because she's usually like just very, very mellow.
Yeah, I love it. How does that work again? Sorry. Here it is.
You can show me then later, because I don't even know.
Oh my God.
What the heck?
So, this picture or this photo was taken by Mr. Buget. Mr. Buget was known and very famous back in the 19th century as a spirit photographer. And he took many photos like this. People would order him like, please, I would like to have a photo with my daughter who is dead a few years ago. She was drowned in the lake. He would make those spirit photos and send it to them.
Photoshop.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that he's like the pre-Photoshop master.
He was recognized as a scammer, so he was put into jail. And
that's very drastic. Boy, oh boy, the jails would be full now. Ooh.
But the photo I just showed you, it was de Nerval in the back, actually, the ghost. Right. Now I want to show you this one as well, because he dared to take his own daughter for making a scam. So you see in the back, this is his daughter.
That's bad juju. That is bad juju. You do not put your daughter into that kind of a predicament. No.
I feel like I'm seeing where this is going. Did she die?
Yeah. Oh no. No. You get that bad juju going. I bet he didn't even ask first. Oh shoot.
No worry. No, it doesn't. It doesn't go that way. No, not unfortunately. But it could have been.
Did you just say unfortunately?
What?
Maureen. Oh, good for you. Okay.
We love stories like this in France.
Yes.
So I missing of crusty stuff. You know? So no, Baguette, he was put into jail when he was. Sorry. What did you say?
We need the juicy details.
Yes.
Yes. So when he was released from prison, he decided to move in other cities in France. So he went to Montargis and he changed his name under C. Robert, and he went on doing his scam. And then he moved to Dijon, where he came back with his real name, so Baguette, to do it again as well. He got like many scams like this, even though police managed to discover it was a scam. He even explained during the tribunal, he explained how did that work, but it's quite like logical. He would take a photo that he would print on the surface of this next photo. You know, it was like a board. And then like a print would appear a bit blurred. Clever.
Yes, there's an app for that now. There's 1,000 apps for that now. But you know, in the United States, we say there's a sucker born every minute. So I'm sure he had plenty of people.
Oh, you're right.
How would you say that in French? There's a sucker born every minute. You must have something like that because you have 10,000 times the amount of colloquialisms here.
I need to know exactly what it means, like, because we have so many expressions. I don't want to give you like the wrong one.
Oh no, because I'll go out into the world here in Paris and use it and get in real big trouble. So we'll confer later. Believe me.
Oh yes, I can then teach you funny things then.
Oh yeah, you can. This is the sucker born every minute right here. That's me.
Like it's itchy in the back to say hello, you know?
Oh yeah, but you got to be around to see the melee. So tell me something good to say and then just sort of step back but watch. And then it's
yeah. So now there are two stories, but I see we are starting to be a bit short in time. What should we do then? Should I tell quickly the stories, or maybe I should, because the first story is not that creepy. It's just funny and quite original and quite unusual. And the second story, this is a bit more creepy. So maybe you want the creepier.
You always want the creepier though, right? I feel like I always want the creepier. I think probably Madeleine always wants the creepier.
I always want the creepier, yeah. I see we have a question for Tarot. I don't know if you're doing that at the end, Maureen. But we have a question for that if you're willing to read cards at the end.
What is it?
Like there's a question in
The
the
tarot
chat
card question.
for the tarot card question. If you're willing to do a tarot card reading at the end.
Oh, sure, I will do it. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
So
Just to let you know.
should I keep my story for next time, or should I share it quickly?
Whatever you want to do. You can
We have
share
10 minutes. I think you can do both. I think we're gonna
Okay.
zip it. Madeline and I are zip it. It's mostly me. Madeline gives you the floor. I jibber jabber. But go ahead.
Okay, so let's go back in the 14th century then. Early 14th century, there was an order, like a group of people called the Templars, who were quite important in France and all Europe, actually. They were the ones who were meant to protect the pilgrimage to Jerusalem. And they were also not from the church, so they were just a like a person, like public person. So had other rights, which means that for the king it was very embarrassing. And Philip IV, the handsome, let me show you his face because he's not handsome.
Oh, whoops.
But at this time, he was mentioned as very handsome, though.
Oh.
Which is, this is how you see how the criteria of beauty is changing from period to the other. So is it going to happen?
Are we going to be swept away by, feel like we may be swept away?
Here it is.
Oh. Oh, wow. Yeah, trends definitely change.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There's a certain je ne sais quoi. Oh.
But he was meant to be very handsome, but he was always criticized because he was also famous to be the Iron King, like the one who would not let that easy to anyone. He is also the one who brings the Pope in France, like he had a problem with Bonifacius VIII, the Pope in Rome. So he decided to organize a Pope, the Papal, here in France, in Avignon. So Clement V was the Pope at this moment. Philip IV decided then also to arrest the Templars because he was really annoyed by the fact they had so many money and so much notoriety. So he tried to break that down, and that worked well. And unfortunately for the Templars, they were all arrested, and it was kind of an inquisition. They were all arrested, and the commission, the Papal Commission, would question them. So there were hundreds of people, you know. And Clement V showed up because he smelled that the king was making it very in a strange way and not respecting people. So he showed up and he said, stop everything. The king let some Templars go away, but he kept few of them, especially one who was the chief, the one who was the first, the head. His name was Jacques de Molay, Jacques of Molay.
Yeah.
This man was meant to serve the religion and not the king. And he knew that the king was taking advantage of his power on every situation. And he knew exactly also he was trying to take advantage on church. So he tried to avoid the tribunal thing, and he tried to escape several times, not by running away, but by trying to protect himself and also to protect the others. But it didn't work. Then it was in 1314. So he was judged, and he was meant to be burned at the stake. So he was taken the same day to an island, a tiny island that is now at the very west side of the city island, where you would find Cathedral of Notre Dame, middle of Paris. So at the very end, on the west side, you have now a tiny park that is called Vergalan.
Yes.
It used to be other islands that were all bring together to manage to get extra land on this big island. So it was a tiny island called the Jewish island, because we used to kill the Jewish there, and then we used to kill the Templars there. So it became then the Templar Island. But anyway, so he was taken here. It was in March 1314. And so there was a man who managed to write down what he saw and who was attending the fact. He that Jacques de Molay took off his shirt, very calm, smiling, even happy, you know, showing like happiness. And the executioners were quite rude with him, though, and they were trying to attach his hands, and he said, "No, please, do not attach my hand. Let them free so I can pray God, because I know that God knows who is right or wrong, and he would blame the one who are provoking our death right now." So he was kind of projecting what we would say now, a curse on the king. And that's spread even more, especially further, later on in centuries, 2 centuries later, in the 16th century, there was a fact that we believe kings were cursed. We call them the accursed kings. You might have heard of the novels or the stories. Even Game of Thrones is actually based on that. It's true that Philip IV, the handsome, didn't have such an enjoyable life after that. First of all, 100 Years' War happened, and well, started, I mean. And also his 3 daughters-in-law, so the 3 wife of his 3 sons, had an affair. So they were all cheating on their husbands. It is called the affair of Ness Tower. And also he fell from his he fell off his horse, and he started to get like he was quite injured at the leg, but he also, we believe, was banged at the head because he couldn't speak anymore for a while.
Oh.
But there is a possibility it's something happening with hereditary troubles, because apparently his brother later had the similar problem, the same problem, couldn't speak. So maybe a cognitive trouble linked with the fact that they were all cousins and wife and having.
Ooh, that might have something to do with it. Oops.
But it's not only that. Then his 3 sons, they became kings after him, but all the 3 of them died quickly. Like Louis X, he died after only 2 years of reign. And then it was Philip V, who died after only 6 years of reign. And after that, we had also Charles IV, who died 5 years of reign. They ended the dynasty of Philip IV and started then the new dynasty of our king, so what we call the Valois branch, with Philip VI and actually special big up to him. Today it's a celebration because it was on the 29th of May, but yes, then in 1328, that Philip VI was sacred as king.
Oh.
Oh,
Yes, big up to Philip. Woo!
yeah, celebration for that.
So let's go for the card readings, maybe.
Okay.
We can try. We're going to definitely get cut off, but what's new? I mean, we always get kicked out of the club. That's what happens every single time. I mean,
Yeah, true. We might have like 5 more minutes before Zoom just cuts us off.
Oh yeah, Zoom's like, you're out of here. See ya.
Yeah. So just be aware of that, everyone. So the question for the tarot card is, will I get the right job this year to help me meet my goals? And the asker is Carson, who is on the phone.
So is Carson get the right job this year?
To meet his goals.
His goals.
I like the specificity of his question. I think that's actually very good.
Sorry, Carson is a woman.
Ah, then that's even better. That's even better.
You have the 8 of diamond and the king of spade. Those mean that he's got paperwork with justice, or maybe very administrative things to resolve first. Maybe it was in the past, but we are here. So then we've got these 2 ones. So it means that he would receive a message, maybe from abroad, not necessarily from where he's living. It could be also from someone he doesn't know, but it's quite someone, I would say, quite far from him. But he would then receive a message from him. Is it connected to the strange, how would you say, foreign? Maybe it's connected to foreign, the job is willing to do. So these 2 ones, you see, it's king of club and queen of diamond. So that does mean that he has to be very careful with a woman next to him, someone who is actually talking a lot about him, someone that is not necessarily reliable, maybe a bit jealous of him. Then we have, sorry, the Jack of Hearts and 9 of Club. So regarding the job, apparently it will be a job that you love, Carson. So it will be something that is very delighting, because I see this one means that you like what this is work. And to answer your question, which is certain, which is sure, is that you will have something like fate falling on you, something quite you didn't expect. So apparently that would be a big change, or something, a great opportunity, or I don't know if it's positive or negative, I'm afraid, but as I see that just before there is a job that you've been like delight with it. So maybe you will be able to have what you want. I would say you will have a great surprise.
I think that's a very good reading. Absolutely.
Yeah, very good.
Congratulations, Carson.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Carson, for your question. And Maureen, that was awesome.
As always, this is like the highlight of my Friday. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week on Friday as well, because this is a weekly thing, along with all of our other events at Experience First. You can sign up on the Experience First website at the From Home box at the top. So,
Right.
thank you guys.
Thank you, everybody.
Au revoir.
Au revoir, merci.
Bye-bye.